Hi and welcome back. Okay, it's time to start doing a little bit of upsizing. The process that I'll be following on this part of the build, if I recall correctly how I did the right wing, is that before I start to lay these top and bottom sheets on, I'll be upsizing through the aft and the forward ribs, obviously directly through the spar. So let's spin the camera around and see what we'll be up to today. Okay, I'll be upsizing all of the copper clecos through the aft, through to the forward or the nose rib, all the way through from tip to root. Even though the root rib's not on at the moment, I'll be starting from rib number 1, upsizing all through these little gussets, through both nose and aft rib as well, through the first 4 ribs, 1, 2, 3, 4. And also upsizing all of the this channel, vertical channel that's at the back of the aileron, rib number 9, or the aileron bell where the bell crank goes through, on rib number 9, stiffening like copper clecoing all of those up, as well as finishing off these little gussets and everything down here, all these little stiffener angles down here. Once that's sort of done, I will be able to then put the top sheet on, flip the wing over, and then do the underside sheet, and then start looking at doing the leading edge. So let's get stuck into this and see how we go in the next few hours. Actually, before we get on to doing the sheets, I'll be also installing all of these. This is the little tubing support plates that Sonex supplied in the kit for doing the pitot tubes and the static tubes. I also use them for running my tubing from the tip through to the root for running the light conduit and the navigation, so the landing light and the navigation light conduits through the wing as well. So just down here on the, here we go, if you look down there on the right wing, you'll see those 2 tubes. That's the ones running from the tip through to the root, and coming up on the other wing, you'll see all that probably just under there as well. Hopefully you can see that. There's my conduits just sitting in there. Anyway, let's get stuck into this and I will see how I go in the next few hours. I'll just zoom this camera down here and show you inside, and you'll see those little support angles just sitting inside that wing, and I'll just go forward. It's a view looking down through the tip through to the root, so I'll be putting those on as well in this part of the build. And there's the landing light for those that may recall. Anyway, let's get stuck into this left wing. Okay, that's the rear spar done, all through. That's already been done before, yes, so that's all good, all good, all good, all good. And I'll leave the root rib out till last. Let's go ahead and start on the forward nose ribs back through the main spar. Okay, I've completed all of the upsizing. I ended up taking these 3 ribs off because it was just too hard to get my hands and drill amongst it all, so I upsized these gussets at the same time, excluding these on number 123 rib. So basically that is done, all upsized, and I can probably do a little bit of deburring and not riveting off yet. I won't be riveting off these yet until I do the top and bottom and leading edge skins, but I will be riveting off the gussets at this stage at least, and leaving this section through here. So once I have upsized these, both forward and aft ribs, I can now deburr it, reassemble it, and I can deburr all these gussets, upsize them, and rivet those off now. So at least those bits are done because look at this. It's as tight as anything inside there, and you can't get you got to cleco it in before you put the ribs on. But hey, that's what it is. So I'll close off for the day. I will do some more videoing tomorrow. There's a power outage out here tomorrow, so I don't know how long I'm going to be out of power for, but hopefully I can do some more work on the aeroplane. So closes off today, and I'll talk with you tomorrow. Alrighty, I've just removed the nose ribs now, the first 4 nose ribs, upsized all of the gussets now completed. Just deburred the first one just to give it a bit of a whirl, see how it went. And these other 3 are all done now, all upsized, so happy with it. So I can now do the aft ribs, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and upsize all the gussets on those as well. So let's get stuck into that. Okay, I'm going to have to take all this bell crank out so I can get to these last two holes just down there. You can see that, and that's pretty much all done, upsized. I don't know if I will do these at the moment or not. Probably will, just through here. I won't rivet them off yet, but I'll just upsize them anyway, and then it'll be a lot, yeah, pretty much done until the skin goes on. Anyway, let me get onto that, and I'll come back to you shortly. Okay, I have now all upsized the aft and forward nose ribs through the spar, including upsizing all of the little gussets from ribs 1 through to 4, excluding the root rib at the moment. So that's now all upsized, also at the rear spar. And most of it's been deburred, but obviously I'll check it all prior to priming and final riveting. Aileron bell crank, all good. So just sitting here in the office doing the final stages of the editing for the next instalment for the Sonex build, and I realised that I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't pay a special thank you to Trevor, who travelled approximately 1,300 kilometres from New South Wales, not to visit me specifically, to visit some friends who just happened to live up the road, 2 minutes up the road I believe. Never knew where I lived, didn't have a contact number, tracked me down, got on a knock on the door one night, thought who's sort of coming here, I don't know anyone here in Maryborough, and lo and behold, he's a Sonex builder, and he thought he would kill 2 birds with 1 stone and say hi. So he came back a following day, or next 2 or 3 days away. We spent a bit of time, and hopefully I've given him a little bit of inspiration to pull his tarpaulin off the top of his Sonex A, which he bought, and also encourage him to get into that retirement like he's talking. So I thank him for coming here to say hello. I probably may or may not have done as well. I've had Phil from Gone Gliding, who's also came and had a little bit of a visit here, and that's not to mention those that do comment on the channel. I can't remember them all, but I'm just going to go with the normals that do talk, and that's Dan and Gavin. I spend a lot of time looking at other people's videos, especially the Sonex builds, and I believe I answer every single person's comments. I don't think I've missed anybody. There are a few people that started building. I'd love to see some photos for those. So there's that. Anyway, I'm going to close this off now and get it posted today. So hopefully I'm back into at least producing 2 or 3 videos, or at least a video every month anyway, or maybe even 2. Being semi-retired or retired now, I can get a lot more building done. So I guess I'll talk with you all soon.